Family, friends, and guests, the faculty and 2015 graduating class of Portland State University! Family, friends, and guests, please rise for the platform party.
Welcome to Portland State University's 2015 Spring Commencement Ceremony. My name is Sana Andrews, and I'm the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it's my honor to lead today's ceremony. Joining me on the stage are honored guests, PSU academic and administrative leaders, and a representative from the Portland State University Board of Trustees, and our student commencement speakers, all of whose names are listed in your program. Please rise for America the Beautiful by one of our Portland State University vocal jazz groups, PDX Connections.
God shed his grace on thee.
Thank you, PDX Connections. You may all be seated. Our ceremony today is being broadcast live online and also on Oregon Public Broadcasting. Please visit pdx.edu for further details. And now I'm very pleased to introduce to you Portland State University's President, Wim Wiewel. President Wiewel.
Good morning, class of 2015, and congratulations, you did it! Today, some 6,000 of you have earned degrees. You represent one of the biggest graduating classes in Oregon, so give yourself another big round of applause so they can hear you all the way in Salem. That's the Viking spirit. When I look at everyone here today, I'm struck, and I'm sure you are too, by the incredible diversity we have here at PSU. Not just racial and ethnic, but the working mothers, the working fathers, the young prodigies, the older career changers, the first in their families to get a degree, the former high school valedictorians, the ones who held down 2 jobs and still managed a full course load, and the international students so far away from home. Most of you, 81% to be precise, are from Oregon. The rest of you come from 44 other states and 51 different nations. Yeah. Together, you make up the most diverse graduating class in Oregon. Look around. This is what achievement looks like. Savor it, and by all means, take a selfie and tweet about it. This is your chance to see your post up on the Jumbotron. You're going to hear a lot of names today, and you'll hear from some very accomplished student speakers. But there are just a few of your classmates I want to mention. At 77, Michelle Reed is earning her bachelor's degree in archaeology. Ready to use her new skills at historic sites around the country. Our youngest graduate is Edison Tsai, who at 16, isn't that disgusting? Got his bachelor's in mathematics with honors and is now enrolled in our PhD program in electrical and computer engineering. Makes us all feel like slackers, doesn't it? And then there is Alexandra Bershim. This single mother and sociology major managed a full load of classes by also dedicating 10 hours a week, helping a local nonprofit with their social media campaign and serving as vice chair of the Policy Council for Head Start. And there's Emily Keith. She came to us from Hood River and earned her English degree while helping students at Portland's Jefferson High School with their writing and reading skills. I mention these graduates just to show some of the breadth that PSU encompasses. Every one of you has a fearless story to tell. One of the things I like most about this university is how much all of you get out and do things while you're still working for the degree you're about to receive. You don't just ask the questions, you get out there and become part of the solutions. You truly embrace PSU's motto, let knowledge serve the city. And you do so with the creativity and flair that helps keep Portland weird and puts PSU on a lot of interesting national lists that we're very proud of. We're one of the top universities for women in technology, according to one list. We're one of the most bicycle-friendly universities, says another. No surprise there. And we are the #3 most hipster school in the entire nation. And on a more serious note, we made the U.S. News & World Report's top 10 up-and-coming universities for the 3rd year in a row. That's your doing. We celebrate all of you today, You bucked the odds. It's not easy to enroll in college, choose a major, do the work necessary to wear those caps and gowns today. And now here you are, ready to receive the diploma that will launch the next phase of your life. I have to add, your timing is good. You're heading into one of the best job markets in a long time. Make the most of this opportunity. And as you look back on your time at PSU and on your accomplishments, take a moment to reflect on the help you had getting here. No one does this alone. Maybe it was the professor who gently redirected you on your essay or your experiment. Maybe it was the advisor who made sure you took the right courses and had the means to complete your degree. Think about the philanthropists who helped fund this wonderful university, the faculty, the staff, your classmates who pulled all-nighters with you, and look around you at the family and friends who stuck with you, supported you, and are with you today. Let's give them all a round of applause. We're counting on you, class of 2015, to stay fearless, build a better, more sustainable future, and help those students who will follow in your footsteps. So be generous, use your creativity, and go Vikes!
Thank you, President Vivell. Portland State University is now governed by its own Board of Trustees, and we're honored today to have Trustee Maria Carolina Gonzalez-Pratt to give greetings from the PSU Board of Trustees.
Good morning, President Vivell, faculty, staff, honored guests, trustees, and most importantly, the class of 2015. I'd like to begin by proudly acknowledging my brothers and sisters in arms from the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard who are graduating today and are distinguished by the red and white and blue cords they're wearing. It's truly an honor to be sharing this day with you. As a PSU trustee and current graduate student, I have the privilege of not only being a member of this vibrant university, but also bearing witness to the daily acts of solidarity and community building that makes this place a unique institution of learning. Whether it's leaders of student government tirelessly advocating on behalf of their fellow students, community members volunteering at the student pantry, or mentors sharing their time and experiences with their peers, I continue to be humbled by the outreach and collaboration that spans across multiple student organizations, programs of study, and resource centers. I've also had the privilege to participate and directly observe the countless ways our students, faculty, and staff contribute outside our campus in support of the communities around us. Many of these acts of generosity and service occur behind the scenes on a daily basis without fanfare or recognition, yet serve as critical catalysts for building and advancing social justice. The significant economic and social shifts occurring in our state and nation call for a new generation of leaders that are as open to multiple viewpoints and lived experiences as they are to honoring their own perspectives and beliefs. And our world needs scientists, healers, writers, artists, historians that are change agents who advocate for equity and opportunity for others as much as they do for themselves. Portland State's motto, "Let knowledge serve the city," underscores the importance of thinking outside of ourselves and shepherding the growth of that commitment into the next generation. These are core values on our campus, and I have no doubt that you will carry them with you on your next journey. On behalf of the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I extend our warmest congratulations to the class of 2015. We look forward to welcoming you to our community of distinguished and fearless alumni. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Pratt, not only for your kind words, but for your service on the board. So graduates, as you begin to transition from being a student to an alumni, you should know that there are PSU alumni located throughout the world. PSU alumni are well respected in the world of work and in graduate schools across the nation and around the globe. Please join me in welcoming David Audley, President of the PSU Alumni Association.
Thank you, Provost Andrews. Class of 2015. My fellow Portland State alumni, it is a privilege joining you. It is a privilege joining you and your family and your friends as you graduate your celebration, your graduation. From the moment you stepped on campus as students, you began your membership with a powerful, resourceful organization, more than 150,000 people strong, our Portland State Alumni Association. We are your enduring link to PSU, a lifelong social, educational, professional support that extends around the world. Years ago, many more years than I like to acknowledge, I sat right where you are today, and like many of you, I was ready to lead and be challenged in a competitive yet uncertain future. I took with me the confidence and enthusiasm I learned right here and a strong academic, social, and ethical foundation I learned at PSU. I have no doubt you will do the same. Wherever your lives lead you, whatever successes you have, and whenever you need to reach classmates and friends, our Alumni Association will always be your connection. Though you leave here today, Portland State University will always be a part of you, and we invite you to take advantage of our network and always remain active in your Alumni Association. Again, congratulations and best wishes. Go Vikes!
Thank you, President Audley. I would also like to thank our faculty, a number of whom are with us today, for their efforts in guiding the success of our students to completion of their academic programs. Their expertise and dedication to our students is outstanding, and they deserve a round of applause. And now to the graduates. I wish to pay special tribute to the more than 1,000 undergraduate students graduating with academic honors. Candidates graduating with academic honors can be identified by the cords worn around their regalia. Will those receiving Latin honors please stand? Thank you. You may be seated. Our student speakers this year represent the talented class of 2015. Our speakers this morning are Brittany Bonnet, who's receiving a Bachelor of Arts in English, Weston Koyama, who is receiving a Bachelor of Science in Liberal Studies, and Zanel Thomas Mutafa, who is receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Communication.
I think we are conditioned to believe that we get one shot at everything. We're taught that giving someone a second chance is a gift, and that receiving a second chance is some grand bestowal. What I believe we need to learn is that the person who most deserves a second chance from you is you. My junior year of high school, tragedy struck my family when I was sexually assaulted in my own home. This incident led to many years of difficulty with school, peers, and self-worth. I abandoned my life as a bright, outgoing student with endless opportunities and retreated into a student who was withdrawn, apathetic, and lost. It was around this time that an English teacher placed a book in my hands that reinvigorated my love of reading and learning and reinstilled in me a passion for literature that would become my major. I was shocked back into rhythm and was suddenly willing to fight to bring myself back. It was a lot of work, but ultimately, I was carried through to the end on the backs of the most benevolent educators I could have ever encountered, and I am ceaselessly grateful for the time, concessions, and kindness that they showed me during this period of my life. Without them, I would have never stepped foot on this campus, and I would not be standing before you today. But I do stand before you today because I gave myself a second chance. I stand before you as someone who nearly failed out of high school, and today I graduate magna cum laude from the University Honors College, literally 2 days away from the start of my graduate program. Thank you. These are all things that I had at one time believed to be out of my grasp. This experience has led me to believe that nothing is out of our grasps. And when we depart today, graduates of Portland State University, I want us to be continually reminded of the risks we took and will take, and the mistakes we made and will make, and the challenges we faced and will face, and be grateful that we were willing to give ourselves a second chance. Thank you.
Students, family, faculty, staff, and friends of Portland State University, I join you in honoring our class of 2015 for outstanding accomplishments. However, I assure you that despite the completion of your degree, the life-altering journey you started when you first enrolled is just beginning. Regardless of how you feel now, I hope for you never to lose that passion for knowledge. It is with this hope that I speak to you today and entreat you to leave this stadium as wide-eyed as you were when you first enrolled, because we are not done. You know, when I think of never giving up, I think of my great-grandfather, Kei. Kei Koyama immigrated to the United States from Japan in 1915 to get an education in dentistry that was unavailable to him in Japan. After many years, he graduated from the North Pacific College of Dentistry, today the OHSU School of Dentistry. He started his practice in Old Town, and after marrying the love of his life, fathering 3 beautiful children, an outside observer might think that Kei was done. But Kei was not done. He continued to serve as a leader in the Japanese American community, providing free dental care to anyone who needed it. Even the experience of being denied human rights during World War II due to his ethnicity, sent to military prison while his family was forcibly moved to the internment camp at Minidoka, Idaho, could not stop him. When released after the war, they continued to keep that spirit alive. Kei reopened his dental practice here in Portland. You see, this is the spirit of Portland. You finished your degree. I finished my degree. But we are not done. We celebrate our graduation today, not just as an achievement, and it is an incredible achievement, but also as a promise for all that we are going to do. So congratulations, my fellow classmates. We will do great things. And to Portland State University, domo arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you very much.
In the midst of applying for this speaking role, I quit 3 times. I quit out of fear of potentially not being good enough. I thought, I'm a 5'4", hair-twisted, African-born woman. How in the world can I represent Portland State University graduating class of 2015? And then it hit me. What each of us have in common is the simple fact that we have all felt as if we are not good enough. But when did we stop believing in ourselves? A 9-year-old I mentor once said to me, Zana, I want to be a baker that owns 100 stores, bakes for celebrities, and then hopefully I'll end up on The Ellen Show at least 5 times in my career. She was very precise about her goals, vivid in her vision, and most importantly, she believed in herself. Certainly, something catastrophic happens to us between that sweet age and now. We used to wish someone would please ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And now, God forbid, if Aunt Ruby asks you, honey, what are your plans after graduation? This question scares us, but we must believe that our dreams are powerful tools that will create a better world tomorrow. During my internship with Anderson Cooper, I learned that it's not about what you know or who you know, but rather, do you know who you are first? It's about matching your authenticity with your ambition and chasing your dreams like never before. As an African orphan, statistics say that I'm not supposed to be standing on this stage right now. But those statistics were wrong, because I stand as a 5'4", hair-twisted, loud-laughing, people-loving, educated Zimbabwean woman. And from me to you, we are all good enough. From the bottom of my heart, congratulations, my fellow graduates, and good luck. Thank you.
It's always hard to follow students with such great speeches. Thank you all. I'd like to welcome back the PSU vocal jazz group, PDX Connections, who will be performing Into the Woods, a reflective song for the class of 2015.
I'm up in the woods, I'm down on my mind, I'm building a still to slow down the time. I'm up in the woods, I'm down on my mind, I'm building a still to slow down the time. I'm up in the woods, I'm down on my mind, I'm building a still to slow down the time. time. I'm up in the woods. I'm down on my mind. I'm building a steel, just so I'm up in the woods. I'm down on my mind. I'm building a steel to slow down the time. I'm up in the woods. I'm down on my mind. I'm building a steel to slow down the time. I'm up in the woods. I'm down on my mind. I'm building a still to slow down the time.
Thank you very much. President Vivell will now introduce the 2015 Honorary Doctorate recipient.
It's my pleasure to introduce our honorary degree recipient and keynote speaker this morning, Fariborz Masih. Born and raised in Tehran, Dr. Masih left the country because of turmoil, a path that led him to Portland when he was 18. Here he studied structural engineering and mathematics, earning a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. In the decades that followed, he pioneered the field of microelectromechanical systems. I'm sure you all know exactly what that is. And founded IntelliSense Corporation. He also established Orbitron, an investment firm. Success in business allowed Dr. Masih to become a leading philanthropist. His Masih Foundation invests in institutions that make broad and lasting impacts in their communities, and fortunately, Portland State has been one of those. He has supported scholarships, fellowships, and endowed professorships. His support for the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences resulted in the creation of the Fariborz Masih Department of Mathematics and Statistics. His big transformative contribution came in 2004 when he announced an $8 million gift to support construction of the Portland State Northwest Center for Engineering, Science, and Technology, and PSU named the Masih College of Engineering and Computer Science for him. He was awarded the Simon Benson Award in 2009 and now serves on PSU's new Board of Trustees. Thank you, Fariborz, for all you've done for Portland State University. It is my pleasure to confer this Doctorate of Humane Letters. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Fariborz Masih.
How about those student speakers, huh? That was fantastic. Good morning, students, parents, spouses, friends, imaginary friends, distinguished members of administration, and some of us less distinguished. It's a pleasure being here, but I must confess, I did my best not to take as many humanities and arts courses. When I was sitting where you're sitting, PSU was a much smaller school with a lot less graduates, and its degrees were less valuable. What I don't remember, and I assure you that you won't either, is who the graduation speaker was and what the heck he was talking about. So please, take your cell phones out, start tweeting, send your emails. This will end in a few minutes. When President Vivell asked me to come and give the announcement address, I told him I really don't have much to say to this crowd. He said, look, come and say a few words about you, about your experience at PSU. We'll give you some nice food. I'll throw in an honorary degree for you. And that should be a good deal, no? I thought that's a pretty good deal, so I'm here today. Now, I intend to share my suddenly earned wisdom in arts and letters and give you the much needed advice that you need for the future success of your careers. But make sure that you remember that maybe these comments had something to do with it if you're successful. You've made great strides to be here. There is no doubt about that. Portland State has become a pretty good school. And those freshly minted degrees are very valuable now. I imagine your family, your friends must be very proud of you. You will be independent now. You can pay for your own room and board, except if you studied Greek philosophy, I advise you to remain extra nice to your parents. So let's talk about me now. I come from a family, one which parents have a lot to say about your career choices. My dad was set that I become a medical doctor. He's not here to hear this, but I was not going to do what my dad wanted to do. So I started studying engineering. At the time, Iran was booming with construction, and I decided, like any wise and noble soul, to go where the money is. I decided in civil and structural engineering, the business of making roads and construction, etc. As soon as I entered the University of Tehran, turmoil started. Universities were closed, mainly because of the leftist student demonstrations. So I faced with two options. One, to serve mandatory military service, or two, to get out before I was 18. I had two weeks to pull this off. So I started frantically applying to colleges in the United States. The first one that responded was Portland State University. And the day that I received it, I went to the US Embassy. They stamped a student visa on my passport, and 3 days later, I was en route to Portland, Oregon. I arrived on a rainy day on a Saturday, was dropped off on Broadway Street at Shattuck Hall, where the campus security was. And the campus security guy told me that there are no student housing or there are no dorms for me to go to. In the rush to apply for colleges, I forgot to inquire whether Portland State had any rooms or boards. So he told me that I have to go and check into a hotel. On top of it, the university was closed in between the two quarters. So there was nobody else for me to talk to either. The nice security man helped me find a hotel, and after helping me carrying my numerous luggage, I was settled in. A week later, I signed up for the spring quarter, mainly English courses, and began my plan of getting my engineering degree ASAP to become a successful construction guy in the booming oil economy. Well, I did my part, took a lot of courses, finished in 3 years. However, the destiny and circumstances did not cooperate. Iran went from being a very close ally to the United States to being, let's say, not the most favorite nation on this list. Dad lost his business, and family started emigrating to Portland because I was here. All those planning down the drain. Next, I went to a less famous school in Corvallis. For 1 quarter. But I got tired of the metropolitan life of Corvallis, so I left Oregon to University of Texas at Austin. Not seeing much job prospects in civil engineering, I decided to continue my studies in aeronautics, and was 1 semester shy from finishing my degree when my dad shows up. I saw him with a lot of white hair, so I decided that my time is better spent moving back to Portland and help him out. I was so close, but again, circumstances did not cooperate. So I left Austin and came back to Portland. One day, for reasons I don't remember now, I was at Kramer Hall cafeteria picking up a pre-made hamburger. Gene Enneking, then the head of the math department, saw me in the line and asked, "Why am I back?" I told him I came to help my folks. He asked if I can go see him after lunch, and I did. He said he's trying to fill a graduate student role, teaching a course, and whether I'm able to teach an elementary math course for him. I told him I've never taught a course before. He gave me the text and assured me I'll do fine. I asked him, when am I supposed to start? He said the class starts at 6 p.m. today. I never left that day, went back to the cafeteria, and started preparing for my first lecture. 2 years later, I was awarded a master's degree in math on account of seeing Gene Enneking that day in the cafeteria. By now, my family was doing fine. I decided to continue my graduate school. I went to MIT, but this time I started studying electrical engineering. 4 years later, received my now first PhD, and I accepted a job in a startup in a Silicon Valley. And then I decided that that startup was not going anywhere. So after a year, I quit, and I moved back to Boston, and I started my own company. Now, this is 1991. There was a big real estate crisis, and the economy was shrinking. I sold everything that I had, maxed out all my credit cards, and I had some student loans. In a word, I went all in. One day, I found myself without any money and in a lot of debt. There was no money left to pay the rent or anything. I was really all in. I thought I did my best, and maybe it's time to throw in the towel. I started calling folks, informing them that I'm going to close the company. A few months before, I had sent a number of proposals to various government agencies for funding, but needed to wait still a few more weeks to know the results. The success rate in those proposals were 1 in 10, not really good odds. I called Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, who was reviewing one of these proposals. A woman picked up the phone. I told her that I may be closing the company, and it would be vital for me to know the results of their decision now. She said, "Sir, it's against the rule to do that." But I insisted, explaining that I really need to know now. I may not be there in a few weeks to receive the news. I could hear she was agitated and uncomfortable, but somehow she asked me to hold the line for a few minutes. And a few minutes later, she came back and told me words that changed my life. She said, "Sir, as I said, it is against the rules for me to show or disclose any results. But if it was my company, I would wait." Two weeks later, we received our first contract. 3 weeks after that, we received another one. And from that moment on, everything looked up. We built a company that grew at a rate of 100% or more every year and successfully was sold in year 2000. A few years later, I went back to University of Texas because one of my mentors, Chikzer Zarumlu, the founding dean of engineering, was receiving a distinguished graduate award. They looked into my unfinished degree and found out if I had transferred what I did at that school in Corvallis, I actually had all my requirements met. I received a master's degree 18 years after my doctoral degree. And today, I received another doctoral degree without taking any courses. It's amazing, amazing. Which brings me to the morale of the story and the end of my talk. And here it is. Number one, love your friends and family, but make your own choices. Number two, buying your way into your next degree is a lot easier and more fun. Number three, if you have a dream, aim high. Go all in. If it doesn't work, come and hang out at Kramer Hall Cafeteria. And finally, with my odds, if I could make it, you can too, I assure you. Thanks for having me here. I wish you all the best of journeys, and God bless. Thank you.
Perfect. Got all the last you wanted. That was great. Very well done.
Thank you, Dr. Massey, for being here today, and we're all inspired by your leadership and your words. You make us very proud. President Vivell, here with us today are candidates who have completed all requirements for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy. Will the candidates for Dr. degrees please rise? On behalf of the deans of the schools and colleges and the faculty, I'm pleased and honored to present the candidates for the highest degree awarded by the university. The names of those students are listed in your program, along with the titles of their dissertations. President Vivell, I recommend these candidates to be awarded their respective doctoral degrees.
On the recommendation of the graduate faculty and the authority of the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Will all of you, together with your advisors, come forward to be recognized?
Laura Owen Wilsey, Applied Physics. Hooded by Dr. John Abrubson. Gregory Bostrom, Applied Physics. Hooded by Andrew Rice. Renu Singh, Chemistry. Hooded by Dr. Kevin Reynolds. Lovemore Hakuna, Chemistry. Hooded by Robert Strongen. Abba Barve, Chemistry. Hooded by Dr. Robert Strongen. Shelley Chu, Chemistry. Hooded by Dr. Robert Strongen. Jialu Wang, Chemistry. Hooded by Dr. Robert Strongen. Jody Fastine, Mathematics Education. Hooded by Dr. Eva Tannheiser. Jennifer Pitzer, Psychology. Hooded by Dr. Ellen Skinner. Aisha Taylor, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Charlotte Fritz. Allison Ellis, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Charlotte Fritz. Caitlin Dembski, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Charlotte Fritz. Jennifer Rainier, Applied Psychology, hooded by Donald Truxillo. Tori Crane, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Leslie Hammer. David Coughlin, Applied Psychology, hooded by Dr. Leslie Hammer. Yongwen Lampert, Physics, hooded by Dr. Drake Mitchell. Am I done?
Will the candidates for master's degrees please rise and remain standing? President Vivell, I recommend to you the candidates for the master's degrees in the fields offered at Portland State University.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty, and with the authority vested in me by the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to confer upon you the respective master's degrees that you've earned at Portland State University. Congratulations to each of you. When you come forward with your faculty marshal, you will be introduced and greeted.
Mohammed Murad. Scott Lindstrom. Scott Lindstrom.
Alexandra Lodwig.
Kelly Pilstrom.
Stephanie Rivera.
Matthew Hoyt.
Wai Ying Kathy Cho.
Caroline Smucker.
Yo Ying Joy Shi.
Eve Dexter.
Heather Lee.
Elliot O'Brien.
Nathan Schreffler.
Michael Gray.
Ulisha Virani.
Heather McCabe.
Emma Hunt.
Elizabeth Hauk.
Katie Patterson.
Chadwick Stryker.
Catherine Brennan.
Peter Olson.
Thomas Appenzeller.
Jarrett Kafer.
Daniel Rhodes.
Amy Cordier.
Rebecca Shopnit.
John Morrison.
Amanda Green England.
Lily Jayatisa.
Lisa Van Loo.
Elias Sibatu Tesfaselasi.
Asher Wallace.
Marianne Doherty.
Christopher Baum.
Hillary Whitney.
Anuksha Roxanne Gardner.
Tatiana Garcia.
Prasede Kemp.
Megan Lee Johnson.
Luann Algoso.
Elizabeth Jane Galloway Westby.
Tapani Krongpradit.
Lisa Shaw.
Nicholas Michael Smith.
Ana Pereira.
Shalia Allen.
Shane Kennedy.
Helena Sofia Garcia Lopez.
Chris Keating.
Audrey McCullum Rossman.
Anu Venkataraman.
Jesselyn Epstein.
Alasdair Crawford.
Sarah Frazier.
Jesse Wright.
Rosie David.
Michael Berliner.
Lindsay Ruse.
Andrew Fitzgerald.
Daniel Scharf.
Brooke Horn.
Stephanie Harrison.
Lena Baisden Tankut.
Annie Ranavera.
Melissa Gifford.
Jamie Bauer.
Melissa Laycock.
Jacqueline Dixon.
Margot Pekka. Ariana Vives. Kyra Hearn. Tiffany Shelton. Melanie Figueroa. Nerl Willis III.
Will all the candidates for baccalaureate degrees and certificates please rise? President Vivell. President Vivell, I present to you the candidates for baccalaureate degrees and candidates for certificates in the fields offered at Portland State University. I recommend the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, the candidates for degree of Bachelor of Science, and the candidates for certificates.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and with the authority vested in me by the Portland State University Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to confer upon you the respective baccalaureate degrees and certificates which you have earned at Portland State University. Congratulations to each of you. You may be seated. Will the faculty marshals now lead the baccalaureate candidates forward to be introduced and greeted by their dean?
Here we go.
Weston Koyama.
Zanel Thomas Mutefa. Brittany Bonnet.
Baccalaureates in Anthropology. Jessica Rose Slenbeck.
Sciences, Mathematics, and Statistics. Colton Leviticus Button.
Webb Wright.
Brianna Costa.
Andrew Pruka.
Kunipa Tionagun.
Patrick Compton.
Supichaya Santonjitanon.
Brooke Piper.
Brittany Kexon.
Story Sylvester.
Aaron Tannenbaum.
Richard Patrick Cromwell.
Kaylin Floride.
Cassidy Abbott.
Elisa Bella.
Danielle Smelter.
Lindsay Boyle.
Megan Collier.
Aaron Levy.
Ellen Odgaard.
Evan Punongboyan.
Wendy Wyrembek.
Adam Reedy.
Alexandra Painter.
Jennifer Finn.
Carly Foster.
Lucas Cooper.
Gwyneth Gunnels.
Alexander Trachik.
Kristen Foxley.
Rachel Christensen.
Ryan Sass.
Kim Dung.
Sydney Steele.
Maria Baldivieso.
Alice Knowles.
Daniel Joseph Giles.
Michaela Bayasi.
Arts and Letters, Philosophy. Jason Crivo Flores. Donna Wilder.
Double major Anthropology and Black Studies. Tia Bangura.
Weston Rundle.
Arts and Letters, Applied Linguistics. Elizabeth White.
Jacob Tanner.
Alexander Yizhnitsky.
Jamail Naji.
Gabriella Lindquist.
Kirsten Allen.
Victoria Christensen.
Catherine Nichols.
Cody Minnick.
Fatima Jaber.
Sarah Lavender. Khalid Abdul Qadir. Andrew Krogman. Heather Johnson. Hugh-Tung Chu. Alexander Alanis. Joel Robert Kozera.
Science and Physics undergraduate students, Eric Sanchez.
Mitzi Maria Baptista Pasos.
Erika Frisch.
Liliana Lively.
Dwight Monahan.
Summer Garzu.
August George.
Lydia McLuhan.
And Marie McCracken.
Jessen Fox.
Monica Espinosa.
Trevor Rydell.
Clark Russian.
Shelby Christensen.
Ronnie Candelabra.
Clinton Rollick.
Juan Ho Añón.
Arts and Letters.
Andrew Canela.
April Lentz.
Michael Hertz.
Sipa Sivan.
Theodore Brockman.
Sipa Swan.
Paul Ashby.
Nicole Meal.
Chris Merrill.
Jonathan Gonzalez.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences.
Arian Jalali.
Danny Brown.
Kayla Oldham.
Kati Manogan.
Shauna Lanyon.
Joshua Wallow.
Sophia Severa.
Shraddha Malakar.
Brooke Shepard.
Deepita Thapa,
Christine Alexander,
Eric Thompson,
Jeanette Green,
Robert Masters,
Christina Anderson,
John Frentress,
Sarah Reber,
Hannah Davis,
Kimberly Huwen,
Rachel Force,
Matthew Parrish,
Tara Tipsard,
William Baker,
Holly Laurie,
Sarah Elizabeth Giles,
Sarah Jo Erickson,
Robin Elaine Luft,
Erin Becker,
Sarah Ruth Burnham Tasco,
Monique Marie Garcia,
Alisa Lordos,
Kisei Johnson,
Jacob Potter,
Katrina McQuarrie,
Sarah Rosenthal,
Athena Lapka,
Kalia Tamiko Hata Watts,
Tian Fang,
Tanya Spanier,
James Guyen,
Dennis Fendler, congratulations,
Bobby Soltani,
Jordan Molnar,
Raya Johnson,
Veronica Dempsey,
Melissa Alvarado Sotelo,
Maria Martin,
Kyla Haller,
Christiana Nelson,
Keegan Murphy,
Laura Suzanne Levinson,
Mariela Milder,
Jordan Burgess,
Melissa Ann Lema,
Sureka Guzman,
Tyler Mullings,
Alexander Clemens,
Jessica Green,
Stephen Balasano,
Linda Guyen,
Ashley Francis Mead,
Kamtu Trum,
Allison Arneson,
Emily Garner,
Nicholas Chiono,
Beatriz Diaz,
Head Coach Ronald Edward Harrison,
Haley Isabel McKay,
Shanice Carr,
Danielle Smith,
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Biology,
Davy M,
Joanna Wolf,
Robert Cobos,
Jessica Hootman,
Erika Acevedo Jung,
Luann McKenzie,
Sean Arnold,
Emily Becker,
James Cruz,
Victoria Hinsinger,
Gaia McLean,
Kimberly Reinholt,
Charlie Winaso,
Me Pham,
Adam Bird,
Kimberly Gailey Winslow,
Matt Manico,
Baldwin Cortez,
Lori Henry,
Kenneth Law,
Carly Cressing,
Heather Pinto,
Rico Ra O'Neill,
Yvonne Pham,
Alexis Sintonji,
Kwa Nguyen,
Marika Allers,
Gregory Anderson,
Tay Upalapati,
Veda Barada,
Tembre Delon,
Rachel Delator,
Annie Crawford,
Kristen Fratella,
Andrew Grant-Decker,
Christine Spencer,
Nina Sherber,
Brittany Green,
Kristen Garcia,
Alana Goldschmidt,
Jamie Schultz,
Rebecca Ann Kermoyan,
Molly Gensch,
Nadira Ostricia,
Jasmine Hackerson,
Rachel Black,
Savannah Cage,
Samia Maurice,
Jasmine Hernandez,
Jamie Cole,
Amanda Murphy,
Katie Stuntebeck,
Molly McCullough,
Emily Rex,
Kaya Humphrey,
Griselda Velasco,
Tanya Couch,
Zachary Callahan,
Fernanda Robles Garcia.
Catherine Hin.
Vanessa Ramos.
Austin Wright.
Ali Oliver.
Natasha Shankar.
Tiffany Lee Belagic.
Jessica Hardwick.
Kendra Sowards.
Tiffany Ray Woosley.
Olivia Hedges.
Ashley Lenher.
Amanda Jansi.
Shiloh Valent.
Kayena Nizad.
Madeline Ritter.
Kurtu Rizna.
Jason Paul Dirtchi.
James Williams.
Nicole Sage.
Andrea Wedger.
Megan Rasmussen.
Martin McLemore.
Jacob Schmidt. Andrew Stutzman.
Jolie Farmerwheat Nelson.
Blossom Lay.
Teresa Rose Melville.
Jamie Wynn.
Kalen Savage.
Terry Coe.
Elish Rupt.
Justin Carlo.
Miles Lai.
Garth Gladfelder.
Sarah Webb.
Ryan Piper.
Jasmine Keith.
Michelle Doty.
Caroline Cummins.
Sadie Kraft.
Ashley Holman.
Heather Beauchesne.
Michael Parks.
Jacqueline Tran.
Nancy Kitts.
Fatina Ilgi.
David Rodriguez.
Tessa Schwass.
Jessica Camacho.
Morgan Dam.
Oscar Lara.
Harmony Volmer.
Jasmine Goering.
Gary Strasser.
Ricky Moy.
Tina Schroyer.
Kaitlin Porter.
Jared Thompson.
Kate McNulty.
Lindsay Hope Peterson.
Min Hai Joanna Chan.
Megan Chrysostomo.
Megan Yan.
Eric Eddy.
Mary Bryant.
Morgan Cunningham.
Rosalie Lee.
John Cat Condello.
Elizabeth Olson.
Danielle Deegan.
Lauren Wilgers.
George Davis.
Alessandra Rosas Castro.
John Maxwell.
Gabriela Guerra.
Stephen Davidson.
Kathy Tooley.
Caroline Louise Libby.
Monica Tarrant.
Suad Osman Mohammed.
Lindsay Day.
Ramla Mohammed.
Misty Brown.
William Scott.
Gino Benavente.
Luis Santos.
Christina Bartling.
Joshua Allen Barber.
Nathaniel Powell.
Stephanie Avila.
Emily Vega.
Patrick McMahon.
Olivia Boggs.
James Kaysen.
Tiffany Leclerc.
Jessica Hannafin.
Kurt White.
Malet Berta.
Joseph Snell.
Mustafa Chakiso.
Hayden Peterson.
Anna Krikun.
Sarah Miller.
Amanda Osborne.
Omolola Aderanque Odejimi.
Kimberly Derasvia.
Okay. Monique Cristina Zawala Piñeda.
Caitlin Pinner.
Cynthia Garcia.
Samuel McQuanant.
Kirstine Moyer.
You do it next then. Vladislav Geshka.
Emma Caffrey.
Future pharmacist Bilal Saeed.
Colin Sewell.
Future dentist Nika Darabi.
Jonathan Stock.
Are they still? Okay. Maher Youssef.
Annabella Showerman.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, baccalaureates in chemistry.
Sarah Turner.
Susan Elizabeth Stevens.
Whitney Wood Edmondson.
Deborah Baxter.
Nicole Bowlett.
Edwin Fontaine III.
Joanna Carnes.
Spencer Payne.
Hilary Murphy.
Cass Wister Oliveda.
Cassandra Pollinger.
Mira Foley.
Christine McDonald.
Eunice Lee.
Mark Olevo.
Michael Cheng.
Tara Wright.
Randolph Hayes.
Jennifer Williams.
Ryan Morrow.
Nadia Sanchez Rivera.
Sid Price.
Melissa Willard.
Carly Rogan.
CJ Martin.
Ferdous Savave.
Colleen Ellen Perkins.
Kimberly Gutinger.
Hallie Hurls.
Daniel Webb.
Joshua Atanasio.
Andrew Duger.
Lilia Yuchenko.
Han Ho.
Zach Reinhardt.
Kim Ho.
Angie Cho.
Matthew Hubbard.
Maggie Podesta.
Fong Do.
Naomi Juffy.
Tan Win.
Karishma Beramuni.
That Tin Win.
Angel Renee Williams.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, baccalaureates in communication. Lauren Frank.
Erin Rose Corbin.
Haley Jensen O'Brien.
Laura Matthews.
Linda Koo.
Sharmali Naduraja.
Alyssa Weston.
Alicia Yahegi.
Amelia Hill.
Jenny Mai.
Jamie K. Burns.
Yana Semenova.
Taylored Ballard.
Olivia Koronko.
Amanda Joy Arms.
Chelsea Gerlach.
Tommy Solario.
Demetria Janice Maxwell.
Lauren Wilbur.
Robbie Mahoney.
Shannon Gross.
Emily Gandy.
Olivia Inguez Cairns.
Taylor Mills.
Ashley Bartels.
Johnny Sid Napier.
Olivia Riggs.
Billy Benner.
Zoe Pearson.
Lucia Poulsen.
Ron Kayeth.
Matthew Jetty.
Jeanette Hess.
Melissa Ulrich.
Joanna Thurner.
Evan Patton.
Ian Gregg.
Christopher Stauffer.
Shale Yatatmark.
Zachary Snyder.
Ashley Myhook.
Kevin Bradley.
Ryan Jack.
Abelmar Garcia Gomez.
Amanda Brooke Lay.
Jennifer Mendoza.
Haura Al-Kafaji.
Yumi Lee.
Carla Beatrice Anandre.
Samantha Mintier.
Madeline Sprott.
Safa Sohail.
Chris Swander.
Anika Amin.
Kevin Olmeyer.
Nat Siaw.
Katie Ann Powers.
Saki Gijo.
Avon Ramati.
Melissa Iglesias.
Patricia Morales.
Kanani Khalil.
Natalie Westerholt.
Giselle Francisco de Gante.
Bethany Purvey.
Megan Zimmer.
Sierra Duarte.
Ranjita Bihan Ram Geistlinger.
Bethany Hawk.
Jennifer Getz.
Mario Estrada.
Thank you. Hannah Dimaselli.
Justin Nicholas.
Laura Hellquist.
Kelson Bartley.
Ashley Walters.
Jonathan Marcos.
Rachel Jones.
Lisa Vieira.
Ashley Vanderzanden.
Brianna Turner.
John Hawkins Gordon.
Patricia Leon Balcazar.
John T. McKinney.
Alejandra Mendoza.
Anne Gleason Russell.
Daniel Nunez.
Catherine McMahon.
Jessica Burton.
Tessa Thompson.
Elena Hayden.
Abigail Cole.
Cody Porter.
Shannon Anderson.
Kent Hudson. Ashley Stewart.
Kian Gorbani Elize.
Megan Lynn Hamilton.
Amanda Nicole Sawyer.
Stephen Blanke.
Micah DeShazo.
Kayla Nori.
Ellie Seals.
Olivia Center.
Farah Farhood.
Madison Schaefer.
Coral Pritchard.
Samantha Serlo.
Kirsten Simmons.
Megan All.
Hawer Kodir.
Carly Shevlin.
Jeff Lamont.
Megan F. Schultz.
Cody Engstrom.
Jenna Marie Schrack.
Kohler Snow.
Mason Mitchell.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, science major.
Fabian
Future
Shakir.
Dr. Kimia Kaizim.
Daniel Kennedy.
Future pharmacist Nazia Faraid.
Shannon Deach.
Future pharmacist Shannon Trin.
Thomas Murphy.
Future pharmacist Jasmine Schaefer.
Jason Arch.
Madhu Madhavan.
Andrew Paulett.
Alexandra Cummins.
Maya Franco Taylor.
Suna Kim.
Jordan Smith.
Fardauza Idris.
Anna Murphy.
Maikan Natasha Tran.
Sharina Zavleta.
Jessica Pham.
Kayla Tatum.
Elizabeth Fan.
Cheeto Dilawayo.
Awanshika Chand.
Findy Germany.
Imad Abu Kazam.
Shaquille Richard.
Stacy Strutz.
Ariel Shaw.
Yasmin Pacheco.
Zachary Sherba.
Johanna Dang.
Megan Govey.
Donald Rivland.
Alexa McDonald.
Radian Vidomsky.
Kasmira Clark.
Nolan Powell.
Cheney Corrado.
Dorianne Thompson.
Alexia Paul.
Nicole Wanwan.
Kelly Miller.
Jordan Sensabaugh.
Erica Contos.
William Kirby.
Marcus Gores.
Laura Atherton.
Sahar Humanesh.
Kim Han Nguyen.
Adriana Scoro.
Nicole Miller.
Emma Diamond.
Colleen Rose Moore.
Wu Lim Ko.
Alina Goncharova.
Hannah Al-Shamale.
Christina Kalmikov.
Brooke Hendrickson.
Karina Ignashov.
Julia Spock.
Andrei Kiselev.
Yoon Sik Park.
Kyu Fong Nguyen.
Skylar Binney.
Alejandra Amador.
Karina Omega Conley.
Rachel Stout.
Megan Wynn.
Alexi Scondon.
Stephanie McMahon.
Zachary Weaver.
Anthony Rigdon.
Andrew Roberts.
Cameron Kelsey Adams.
Matthew Hamilton.
Karen Helweg.
Catherine Millsap.
Katie Paw.
Gabriela Maria Vilicana.
Kelsey Nino.
Emily Liu.
Kevin Donovan.
Jesse Smith.
Natalie Byrne.
Nicole Vance.
Malia Chin.
Duke Tran.
Josh Milholland.
Gilmer Gongora.
Piraya Supa.
Charles Boudreau.
Sarah Galadari.
Dane Wynn.
Munira Almoljil.
David Chavez.
Noura Al-Tamimi.
T. Lee.
Erin Kun Shuba.
Jennifer Lowe.
Mai Tai Boyd.
Michael Calloway.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, baccalaureates in economics.
Tway Nguyen.
Emma Willingham.
Mary Beth Roboka.
Alexander Collins.
Jennifer Pham.
Yanwing Sito.
Judy Sok.
Michael Lee.
Odessa Igwe.
Faisal Ashokod Kanan.
Thomas Grass.
Sarah Hoffman.
Mark Danilin.
Deanne Spencer.
Alexia Stark.
Kultan Iwaz.
Robin Abbott.
Gregory Dyke.
Leticia Rode.
Michael Mayer.
Andrew Landstrom.
Jared Raleigh.
Jacob Schwartz.
Marie Dufose.
Aubrey Mitchell.
Paige Husey.
Robert Sanchez Kalman.
Kelly Burns.
Vishal Kotanali.
Janaki Chandler.
Kevin Ramey.
Yan Wong.
Brandon Evans.
Mohammed Al-Kubaisi.
Alicia Dorman.
Hamad Almojil.
Sert Ikangaulino Wijalika.
Lynn Wynn.
Haemin Park.
Cody Marcotte.
Catherine Suter.
Nick Licon.
Delvin Atkins.
John Carney.
Social Sciences.
Andrew Jenkins.
Nicole Tompkins.
Michael O'Connor.
Nathaniel Buddy Williams.
Marina Gonzalez.
Danielle Fusi.
Armon Kelikovic.
Abdulaziz Mohammed.
Jeffrey Wise.
Ryan Long.
Elsa. Elsa Beerholt. Damaris Perez.
Major Oni.
Christy Hood.
Brandon Lester.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, baccalaureates in English.
Vincent Johnson.
Christopher Craig.
Joycey Love.
Janelle Arce.
Angere Stevens.
Eric Bennick.
Marlene Sales.
Jordan Vincent Gold.
Olivia Matthews.
Angela Hartley.
Sebastian Suarez Garcia.
Devon McCrae.
Shanice Wright.
William Mass.
Guadalupe Madrigal Aguilera.
Roxana Arguello.
Erika Janet Lira Zamora.
Gloria Mulvihill.
Suguru Ishikawa.
Jenna Woods.
Lucy Sherman.
Tala Moyers.
Tatiana Scott.
Megan Atia.
Sarah Fisher.
Danielle Vandenberg.
Elima McConnell.
Heather Figueroa.
Roger Schmidt.
Charles Foster.
Ashley Wheeler.
Kelly Petrie.
Tabina Guyen.
Gabrielle Erbs.
Mario Jeffries.
Lord of Darkness.
Lauren Elizabeth Lean.
Christian Yan.
Faye Verjar.
Colleen Beatty.
Katian Remen.
Shazad Khan.
Roger Petrie.
Celine DeClerc.
Sean Dund.
Ashley Joes.
Levi Jardine.
Chelsea Hobbs.
Pablo Brito.
Jenny Stinson.
Adriana Mendoza.
Matthew Macbeth.
Robert Strand.
Amber Lee. Emily Keith.
Jambel Unkov.
Emily McDaniel.
Jalaine Tomokane Benavente.
Paula Blaine Chamberlain.
Scott Lowry.
Shebe Bamba.
Mandy Kalunki.
James Kirschenbaum.
Sarah Basler.
Scott Harn.
Danielle Glasser.
Anesh Nath.
Lotus Teagarden.
Maya Pyland.
Carly Westover.
Ryan Clapper.
James Toms.
Haley Stroshine.
Kaylee Sage.
Lindsay Peters.
Mark Roberts.
Darcy Hall.
Katrine Silvius.
John Garcia.
Christiana Rutherford.
Jill Banizak.
Damdenjai.
Jessica Ann Waugh.
Jesus Erlinda Lopez.
Hui Bao Li.
Janon Silaf.
Michelle Diane Rose.
Zachary Olsen.
Matthew Filippini.
Jessica Pauline Ombroth.
Lillian Smith.
Gina Arias.
Shauna Franklin High.
Brenda van der Zanden.
Kevin Tellis.
Lisbeth Jasmine Mota.
Brenna Martin.
Trista Paulson.
Lily Craw.
Natasha Fagan.
Amanda Keener.
James Johnson.
Sean McGee.
Kenny Sullen.
Sam Phillips.
Rebecca Brooke Fingeret.
Sheena Miller.
Tessa Breach.
Sarah Nicole Donaldson.
Bernice Peraza.
Shella Sansler.
Nicole Petiet.
Stephen McNabb. Mark Myers.
Alexandra Lee Noreski.
Christian Patterson.
Eleanor Franklin.
Christy Huyn.
Marcus Romanos.
Environmental Science and Management.
Jennifer Anderson.
Michelle Fitzgerald.
Jade Robinson.
Shady Sendy.
Caitlin Frazier.
Jules Nemish.
Darlene Stotts.
Kaylee Mutisus.
Chelsea Kewen.
Elise Cogburn.
Sean Richter.
Christopher Miller.
Mackenzie Finn.
Judith Takas.
Jonathan Schnacky.
Gina Guidis.
Sheena Das.
Christopher Zonta.
Abhavna Shukla.
Eleanor Webb.
Sara Algilan.
Mary Saforek.
Andrea Holzner.
Alyssa Haskins.
Kile Knudsen.
Melissa Mahoney.
Katie Kurtz.
Kevin Kanaga.
Andrea Poli.
Matthew Schul.
Jennifer Rood.
Christopher Caprio.
Kevin Pesola.
John Ritchie.
Jasmine Cameron.
Colleen McComb.
Justin McKee.
Jonathan Thomas Hawks.
Erin Burns.
Joshua Adams.
Colleen Dusin.
Brittany On.
Heather McCanna.
Christine Hopkins.
Jennifer Rizzuti.
Ashley Davis.
Cara Duncan.
Arut Patumtewapipal.
Sabrina Nunum.
Ryan Gervosi.
Glenda Carlin Hughes.
Catherine Fuller.
Ashley Heckenon.
Irma Ramirez.
Peter Dakota Moloff.
Christy Milligan.
Drift Marvin.
Kizan White.
Khan Dam.
Christopher Duenas.
Matthew Herbert.
Jess Dulaski.
Travis Elder.
Stephen Kufel.
Laura Lee Williamson.
Kelsey Pressler.
Gina Singmaster.
Sarah Walker.
Jill Lynch.
Taya Kinshu.
Xiaoting Wang.
Jesse Holt.
Elisa Oaks.
Joshua Chandler.
Melissa Bergeron.
Megan Cohen Doyle.
Jaislyn Spisak.
Levi Ethan Cecil.
Jennifer McRory.
Stephanie McKenzie.
Ashley Wenzel.
Leela Pearl Whitney.
Nick Bernier.
Desiree Sanchez.
Emma Johnson.
Leslie Eckert.
Brandy Jenkins.
James Stovall.
Rose Lacroix.
Sean Payne.
Margarita Kodoshiwa.
Kimberly Carley.
Natalie Isabel Yan.
Kurt Opitz.
Corey Snyder.
Tyler Perrin.
Stephanie Ritchie.
Geology. Emily Klockziem.
Kaylee Larson.
Catherine Deloach.
Shelby Marie Kolsmashi Price.
Heather Herrinks.
Minan Orozco Caravantes.
Laura Hogue.
Rosie Carpenter.
Tessa Carlson.
Robert Hurd.
Kelly Grimm.
Nicola Short.
Rebecca Pugh.
Leah Lochting.
Adrienne Nichols.
Radhika Niles.
Mary Robbins.
Zachary Williams.
Jennifer Kirkham.
John David Hobius.
Cody Sorrell.
Tina Williams.
Donovan Decker.
Kimberlyn Richmond.
Miguel Garcia.
Montaisha Moore.
Ty Taylor.
Jacqueline Dakota Robertson.
Baccalaureates in History.
Rebecca Drake.
Charles Hackney.
Jason Parvis.
Kelsey Kim.
Laura Jean Jones.
Michael Higgins.
Kylie Kathleen Gamble.
Kyle Brown.
Jasmine Candice Woods.
Brent Raleigh.
Antoinette Yvonne Wayne.
Duncan McGuire.
Yesenia Garibari.
Patrick Young.
Yesenia Esparza.
Stephen Printup.
Annie Avaresian.
Chase Jackson.
Shannon McMakin.
Eric Manley.
College of Liberal Arts and Science, Sociology.
Nick Redard.
Kalisha Irish.
Andrew Davis.
Katy Lee Francis.
Samuel Babb.
Erin Cooper Schrick.
Tanya Malthy.
Brianna Kame.
Mary Claire Reed.
Daylan Strauss.
Andrew Grogan.
Anika Donaldson.
Eric Prost.
Jeffrey Weisberg.
Kyle Polson.
Zachary Cope.
Trainer Dayline.
Samantha Minter.
Cesario Rep.
Amanda Brogman.
Devin Wozniak.
Olivia Womack.
Diana Saracen.
Nicholas Curry.
Bailey Becker.
Allison White.
Anissa Rinders.
Sabrina Ersland.
Alex Clark Ritter.
David Ferguson Jr.
Justin Reeves.
Nelly Delgado.
Natalie Toller.
Rebecca Dick.
Jesse Miles.
Michael Aeto.
Tracy Blair.
Emily Wyand.
Maya Gutierrez.
David Rose Billings Jr.
Kelsey Nicholson.
Yvette Perez Chavez.
Kiefer Craig. Nice to see you.
Austin Lockhart.
Miriam Pachecos.
Dino William Price.
Jacqueline Kasim.
Ashley Perrin Sandoval.
Jacob Opelts.
Stephen Martin.
Justin Floyd.
Jasmine Hudson.
Benjamin Torrens.
Jawan Mullen Jr.
Joshua Gregory.
Andrea Hamburg.
Matthew Biskey. Nice job, man.
Andrew Matrin.
David Sherman.
Haiti Feet.
Jackie Brooks.
Berth Hershey.
Kelly Lenz. Nice to see you.
Brendan Ward.
Edgar Barker.
Saria Nafel Dai.
Teresa Wynn.
Veronica Montes Stoker.
Kenneth Crabillo.
Agustin Torres.
Baccalaureates in International Studies.
Sophie Swaringen.
Karen Carrillo.
Sani Rodriguez.
Romel Rodriguez.
Claire Cullen.
Celeste Noel.
Alexandra Bushen.
Haley Moore.
Kiana Bustamante.
Cameron Prue.
Melissa Rudberg.
Jacqueline Haladek.
Lucy Hidalgo.
Jason Hash.
Kevin Zapata.
Jessica Harn.
Sarah March.
Caitlin Hotman.
Margaret Burrows.
Abigail Noon.
Bridget McCarthy.
Lily Pieper.
College of Liberal Arts and Science, Social Science, Speech and Hearing Sciences.
Jesse Tapia.
Kyla Johnson.
Chelsea Clark.
Alicia Aguinaga.
Caroline Brown.
Annalise Bianca Cohen.
Christian Cosgrove.
Heather Botts.
Hallie Doherty Gary.
Melody Kahane.
Tani Snyder.
Megan Elizabeth Johnson.
Kandali Drion.
Vanessa Barnett.
Shanna Cranston.
Kinse Mattison.
Ai Magru-Sakamoto.
Rebecca Bouchard.
Michael McCall.
Emily Riner Constantino.
Andrew Alexander.
Michelle Crook.
Anna Reeser.
Tony Steele.
Mariko Russell.
Alina Bouchak.
Sarah Lopez Lopez.
Cristina Lastimosa.
Sam Idris.
Wendy Miller.
Tony Ramirez.
Stacy Toomey.
Dane Delonte.
Tiffany Hake.
College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, baccalaureates in Liberal Studies.
Stacy Ludi.
Ian Morrow Chisholm.
Jennifer Pascual.
Victoria Kuzmenko Asabin. Thank you, family.
Chelsea Johnson.
Jade Miller.
Haley Wooster.
Landon Isabel.
Maria Buraza.
Eli Capeless.
Hanam Al-Zubaiki.
Randy Brett Wilson II.
Erin Fisher.
Kevin Mason.
Riley McCall.
David Bowman.
Megan Knight.
Brandy Hansen.
Donna Schmidt.
Lucilla Copado.
Holly Elena Johnson.
Danny Vu.
Edmund Nelson.
Maria Leewright.
Emily Dudley.
Elizabeth McFarland.
Christina Owens.
Lisa Yvonne Risno.
Erin Evo.
Zena Dural.
Warren Pill.
Nathan Farrell.
Tawana Robb.
Rachel Marie Evans.
Chan Roberts.
Morganfield Riley.
Leila Luna.
Jordan Hilton.
Jack Freeman.
Julia Lang.
Lindsay Lozier.
Brian Dodson.
Stephanie Irene Smith.
Stover E. Harger III, Esquire.
Andrea Hayward.
Richard Nelson.
Lexi Yvonne Defimbo.
Caroline Meyersick.
Megan Fair.
Jasmine Blue LaValle.
Megan Elam.
Kayla Watson.
College of Liberal Arts and Science. Social
Elizabeth
Sciences.
Cook.
Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies.
Robert Justiniano Borea.
Catherine Toha.
Rachel Hess.
Kasara Ann Abbey.
Joel Adams.
Tina Semko.
Lily Peacock.
Genevieve LeMay.
Beck Beveridge.
Hannah Greenberg.
Sienna Toro.
Catherine Jones.
Zaven Butler.
Brianna Ellingson.
Julian Allen Blankenship.
Chloe Resch.
Jonathan Lewis Cole.
Jessica Chicharro.
Dania Chavez Lopez.
Angelica A. Lim.
Rosalind Leung.
College of Liberal Arts and Science, Arts and Letters, World Languages and Literature.
Shoshana Gableman.
Haley Holden.
Amber Christensen.
Tisha Colson.
Heather Dawson.
Casey Borrow.
Courtney Bliss.
Riquel Michel.
Kimberly Renee Bisa.
Mushina Jadu.
Ashley Cote.
Bobby Joe Mitzel.
Adam Henry Josephs.
Lila Kawajashi Johnson.
Marissa Clark Ritter.
Anna Scott.
Rim Barati Dover.
Kylie Jordan Sibley.
Jenny Weedman.
Ana Diaz.
Kaylee Terry.
Nelly Baca Rogers.
Future lawyer and supermom Claire Feetham.
Richard Tapia.
Hao Wu.
Joliet Shreng Yost.
Samantha Moulet.
Natalie Camelio.
Catherine Fernandez.
Lindsay Dixon.
Angie Diaz.
Nisi Kaufman.
Sarah Inskeep Mueller.
Jaron Nacho McLeave.
Rosemary Williams.
Spencer Delon.
Joshua Roosh.
Devin Kawahara.
Anthony Dylan Hernandez.
JC Roseberry.
Corey Cummings.
Gina Rainville.
Lieutenant John Burdick.
Juana Valadez Alvarez.
Chelsea Simons.
Jessica Perez Rodriguez.
Lamara Haynes.
Bronte Lowen Thomas.
Ahmed Zuhairi.
Brenna Feldkamp.
June Ellen Ressinger.
Tamarantha Asher.
Casey Kroll.
Will the master and baccalaureate candidates please rise? At this time, you may change your tassel from the right to the left side. Congratulations to all of you. In keeping with the tradition, you can please be seated. In keeping with the tradition of the graduation ceremony, we will follow the order of dismissal with the platform party first, followed by the faculty, and then the newly graduated students. Please remain seated until your row is dismissed. Family and friends, you may meet your graduates outside of the Moda Center. Congratulations to all of you again. Marshals, please lead us out.